From November 14th to 21st, we're inviting you to join us for a powerful trip to Ghana. This isn't just a vacation. This is a chance to walk through the same places where many of our people were captured, held, and shipped off into slavery. So don't wait. Secure your spot today. We're making history by walking through it. Will you be with us?
Introducing the African Diaspora News Channel app, your gateway to stories that's overlooked by the corporate mainstream media.
At African Diaspora News Channel, we cover stories that don't receive mainstream attention, and we serve as the voice to the global Black community. We are committed to informing and educating through the power of media, connecting the African diaspora one story at a time.
With our platform, we're helping to end injustice by exposing it.
Join us in standing for excellence in journalism and serving our community. Download the African Diaspora News app today.
Peace, family. My name is Vicki Dillard for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're so pleased that you have joined us today. As you come in, be sure to share the broadcast. Beloved, how many of you all know that's so important, that it helps us to expand our voice? We're the counter voice to mainstream's white supremacist apparatus. So when you share, when you're intentional about it, that means that you're helping to spread our voice. And how many of you all know that our collective Black voice is what makes us strong? Yes, don't forget the powers that should not be in their media apparatus. They have had literally over the years billions and billions, and I would even say trillions of dollars when you think about the generations of advantage that they've had in media, whether it's print media, whether it's television. So, beloved, that's the beast that we're going up against. So we've got to be very intentional about sharing, about supporting networks just like this one, because we speak for issues that actually matter to you. Yes, talk Black to me, somebody. Let me hit my gavel on that. In case you don't know, baby, Vicky holds court, honey. I've been on different platforms over the years, and I brought the gavel with me from a revelation I received 20 years ago. The gavel is not something that just your lawmakers should use and judges. I want you to know, baby, that we legislate and that your word matters. Yes? With that being said, I want you to see today's very insightful and exclusive commentary as a part 2 to my live broadcast yesterday. Now, I did yesterday I did a live, and then some of you all have been commenting on my other pre-record that I did, my other broadcast that's up related to this Iranian migrant that tried to check Black folks about our work ethic. Black to be somebody. So go look for yesterday's live so that you can have context to what I'm talking about today. The live that I did specifically talking about the Black purge in DC, okay? Trump's so-called martial law. Are you hearing me today? So that sets the groundwork for what I'm going to talk about today, because today is part 2 and I need to get right where I'm going because I got a whole lot of receipts. Yes? Now, I hope y'all are ready. Now, yesterday, I gave you the details about Trump federalizing DC police, right? I also told you that the Black mayor there, Maria Browser, which I need to think of her, a bootleg bones and biscuits name, which I'll get back with you at that later, beloved. She, and I've talked about her in times past because she's used her position as DC mayor against us. She's not doing nothing powerful and profound. So this is the problem when your bootlegs love to talk about when we don't support the Kamala Harrises of the world, when they try to cosplay her as Black and other folks that they say they Black. Yeah, but you with a white supremacist agenda. You see what I'm saying? So when you all are out there talking, don't be just thinking, oh, we go in on immigrants, baby. You won't, y'all, we give our own the everlasting to everlasting to everlasting to everlasting work. Stop playing. Anybody that's willing to be a white supremacist too, you know darn full well we give them that word. Now, whatever costume, as I say, whatever costume they have on, we're going to give them that work. With that being said, I've talked about Mary Browser before on other platforms, because during the global medical thing, she was twitching her hips around with the folks that was pushing that agenda. And I talked about her, not whether or not you decided that you was going to go along with the shots or whatever. That's not the point. She was going to black neighborhoods talking down to us like she was our mama. And my point was, ma'am, do you go into the Asian communities? Do you go into the Middle Eastern folks communities? Do you go into the Latino communities talking them crazy like you they mamas? That was my issue with her, is that she come twitch her hips in our neighborhood, talking to us, wagging her finger in our face with Dr. Fauci telling us what to do. That was my issue. It's not about whether you choose to get it or not. You understand? So she's got a history of being a tool for them folks that tell us what to do and not respect us as intelligent black constituents. You understand? Well, how many of y'all know that when Trump initially signed the executive orders, or it was even talk, I should say, about him signing the orders, she seemed to have objected to it, even though her objection was still weak. You could tell that she was not happy about what he's doing. All of a sudden, before I went live yesterday here, I shared with you, I found out that she had just recently met with the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, and she, y'all's black mayor out there, and she all of a sudden sounds like she's okay, like she just left the spa, like she just got her nails done, toes done, stop, like she just got a massage. Y'all can tell I'm a girl. All those things make me happy. That's how she sounded, just like she was refreshed. And then she changed her tune to say she wasn't going to focus on the negative of her town being taken over. Instead, she said, I'm going to focus on how we can utilize these federal resources. What? That don't sound right. Something sound really, really wrong with that, doesn't it, family? May I tell you, I believe that your black boule is collaborating with the possible black purge there. Now, let me tell y'all something. Let's get back to where we're going. Watch yesterday's live broadcast. Remember, I told you I did a couple of different programs of mine you're going to see from yesterday, but look for the one that's about the live related to the black purge in DC, okay? Meanwhile, I want to tell you, in yesterday's broadcast, remember, I discussed the fact that they are targeting and have been targeting black soldiers, purging them over the past few years, and they've intensified it in the past recent months. Y'all know that, right? Pay attention. Well, I showed you our receipts yesterday that they're not just doing it to the black soldiers, black, let's just call them law enforcement folks, because that's who Trump bringing in locally to take over. But they also have targeted black firemen. I discussed all that yesterday, gave y'all receipts and everything, okay? Keep that in mind with what I'm talking about today. Yes? I want the team, if they would, to get ready to show you the video that I was referring to yesterday from former Sergeant Jerry Williams of Memphis, Tennessee. Why? I was trying to not only give you receipts, not only did I give you receipts in recent history, that there is a pernicious agenda against black law enforcement, black soldiers, those that are in local law enforcement, also, who else I say, firefighters, right? Because they up to something, they up to something in DC. Now, I told you it's not just because it's a large black enclave. As much as we're FBA, you understand that Washington, D.C. is a global hub. Look at my recent tribute to the former mayor of Washington, D.C. Isn't that prophetic and foretelling that just some days ago, I did a video after all these years on Marion Barry. Why am I tripping with the man's name? Somebody help me in the chat. I can't even see the chat, but y'all help me. Marion Barry, thank you. I just talked about his power in Washington, D.C. and why the feds set him up with that case. Y'all remember? And I explained to you all that when you are a black politician, we know how to back you. So when you hear the black bootlicks talking about us and how we're not engaged, no. That's when they're scared when we're really engaged. Because Marion Barry was winning elections. And one election he won, I think it was 80 or 81% of the vote. Why? Because he produced tangibles. He's credited with creating some of your black millionaires and billionaires. Average black folks love him because they said that they had jobs under him. They had education, summer jobs, and even the elderly walked real strong with him because he cared and he produced results. White folks was mad at Marion Barry, and initially, you know why? Because he used white folks to get in office. And he flipped the script and went real black. The former black chief of police, I showed y'all that clip where he even broke down. I'm going somewhere with this. When y'all saw the clip of the black police chief saying how Marion Barry came to him before he even put him in position, told him to get ready. He wasn't playing. He put us in positions and got us money and checks. That's why black folks rock with him. So after the Fed set him up, after he was out of office for years and he was reelected, guess who helped to get him reelected again to another office? Us. DC doesn't like that because there were no lobbyists that bought him. The people showed up for him. They couldn't trick the people. With that being said, that's another reason they don't want us controlling Washington, D.C., because they have pernicious agendas, both local agendas that are wicked and geopolitical ones. Now, keep that in mind with this video. Now, I explained to you about them purging black law enforcement folks, black firemen, and I told y'all that they up to something, right? I told y'all that I believe Trump was getting ready to bring some shocking folks in and out of Washington, D.C., and he wanted to control the gates. Let's call them gatekeepers. He wanted to control the access by and through federal law enforcement, so his administration could be controlling it, so that the local police won't be able to testify to what's really going on. You understand? That's the reason why he attacked black youth there as well. Talking about them getting off the streets, talking about getting rid of the homeless. He doesn't want nobody on the streets to be able to capture who might be coming in and out of there. Keep that in mind, right? Now, I wanted to give you historical context yesterday with the video. We're going to show it to you now. Of, as I mentioned before, former Sergeant Jerry Williams of Memphis, Tennessee. This is a black man that was supposed to have been on the scene when Dr. King was assassinated. Listen to something he says here in this clip. Watch this.
It's Jerry Williams. I'm a retired Memphis policeman. During the time of Dr. King's assassination, I was working the Homicide Bureau of Memphis Police Department. And on 2 previous occasions when Dr. King would come to Memphis, I was assigned to head his security team. But the last time he came, there were no black officers assigned for that security.
Why?
Well, I really don't know. I just know that I reported to work on the morning of Dr. King's assassination, and I was told by my inspector that we would not be on the assignment. So I commenced to do my regular duties as a homicide officer in the office. And later on, around 5 in the afternoon, we heard that Dr. King was assassinated. When we got the information in the office, Inspector Zachary said that we have to get down to the Lorraine Motel that Dr. King had been assassinated. And I remember getting my hat and coat. When I got to the door, the inspector said, no, I'm going to have at least 2 officers to stay in the office because we're going to be getting calls from all over the country, which we did. Within 5 minutes, we were getting calls from San Francisco, New York, Hawaii, and London, England, all wanted a confirmation of Dr. King's assassination. Shortly after that, I was called to the scene where Dr. King was assassinated to bring the camera. The police camera had broken, and of course we have cameras in our office in homicide, so I was told to bring the camera down there. So I carried the camera down there, and they proceeded to do the pictures at the scene. My partner and I left and went to the St. Joseph Hospital on North 2nd Street. to view Dr. King's body. And from that time on, we were assigned to work the homicide. The lonely sanitation people who Dr. King gave his life for, they were the ones who stuck with him. They were the ones who marched in Pickett City Hall, had to sign on, "I am a man." They are the ones that had a tremendous effect on the change that took place here in Memphis. Not these so-called professional people. It was a little person, the ones who worked on the sanitation trucks, who hauled the garbage on tubs on their shoulders. They were the ones that stuck with Dr. King. And these other, as I said earlier, these other people who came after his death, they was not there marching with him as a whole. After his death, everybody came out the woodworks.
Did your view change of him?
Okay, did you all hear that? That was very, very powerful. This dear brother was on the scenes, gave us explicit details of what took place, told us that he was typically assigned, because Dr. King had been to Memphis times before, he was always assigned the previous couple of times to Dr. King. But the day he was assassinated, they took him off, and he said no other Black police officers were assigned. He wasn't just talking about himself. Y'all heard it, right? I'm bringing that to your attention for a very important reason, because when your government is planning something dirty, they do their best in most instances to limit Black folks' involvement or to completely remove you from there. Your Blackness, your consciousness, your energy messes up their wicked agendas. Now, how many of you all know, was it the end of the 1990s or early 20s, the MLK's, Dr. King's family won a civil case that proved that the United States was the ones that had his father taken out. And they won a settlement. How come we don't hear about this all the time? How many of y'all know that's one of the reasons why we know who Judge Joe Brown is? How many of y'all know that one of the reasons why Judge Joe Brown became a national icon in terms of the judiciary and television and stuff like that is because he was the one that was overseeing a lot of that case? How many of y'all know that? So we've been told y'all the government did it, but there's an actual civil case that was won by his family many decades after the fact. How come we don't talk about that all the time? That showed the government, it was the United States government that was complicit. But how many of you all know, guess who else was on the scene when Dr. King was assassinated? Come real close to the screen. I promise you I brush my teeth. I take showers and everything. Listen. Guess who else was on the scene just in case one of the shots or the plan didn't go well? Guess who else was on the scene? The U.S. military. Did you all know that a U.S. military sniper was on the scene, among others? Did you all know that your U.S. government also solicited a mafia, the mafia, to do the job, but they didn't end up doing it? Did y'all know that? I'm trying to tell you who the real gangsters are. And I'm trying to let you all know, show you the historical interplay between local law enforcement, local police, beloved, but also the U.S. military. You don't need to take my word for it, do your research. Now, I wanted you to hear directly from this man because this was an interview, I think it was from 2007, with this white lady named Amy Goodman, who's known as a liberal for NPR. Because y'all love to take what white folks say. So that's an interview from back in the day from him. And I also do that because they trying to mess with the internet. So when you research this man, or you research the story of what took place with Dr. King, they're trying to whitewash it. You understand? So let's skip all that and let's just listen straight to his testimony. Keep that in mind. Why am I saying is there? Yes, Democracy Now! Thank you for that correction. Let's make that correction. Democracy Now! That's right. Thank you so much for that correction. Listen. So with that in mind, understand that there is a lot going on, and the question becomes, is there truly a concern from white folks in the United States who worried about their numbers being low and their numbers expediting. Because remember, before Joe Biden took the oath of office, remember, Joe Biden, this last time when he won, remember, he was just waiting 2 months later to take the oath of office, and he cussed out fake black boule leaders. Remember, it was Reverend Al Sharpton and them, folks from the NAACP, folks from Urban League, all them kind of folks, remember? After he stopped answering their calls after they helped him get elected. Remember, Al Sharpton and them was so embarrassed and humiliated, they went public, they went on cable news and started saying how Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are not answering their calls. So because the White House, because Joe Biden and them, they weren't in the White House yet, because they was embarrassed and humiliated, they did a Zoom meeting with the boule. In that Zoom meeting, Joe Biden said what? That America is not only doomed because of black folks, but because he said white folks getting ready to be the minority come 2040. I'm telling you, there's something that's happening geopolitically, internationally, and I believe they're bringing some high-level folks in and out of DC that they don't want you to know about, which is why they're controlling those gateways. But also they're doing preparatory stuff because they know that their time is up on our planet. Their numbers are organically diminishing without us doing nothing to them. Watch this. And Joe Biden said the same because he said white folks getting ready to be the minority come 2040 in that Zoom call, remember? Now watch this. Why am I bringing this up about a civil war? Y'all know I don't fool around with the Maxine Waters of the world when they start being a tool for white supremacy. I don't fool around with Maxine Waters when she started defending the likes of the Joe Bidens of the world. But I got to tell you, she was on the right side of history many, many years ago because she was one of the strongest allies that exposed in the United States when she helped to expose the dirty work that we were doing in Haiti with Aristide. When you look at her history, she was walking lockstep and she was holding the government accountable then. Every now and then she'll glitch and do something right. Now, she did that initially when she first came in. Now, I ain't gonna lie, she was also a part of a very high-ranking financial group, and she was doing some halfway good stuff when she was there. But when she go to defending the Joe Bidens and start doing all this little weird stuff, we got to call her out. Well, she came out not too long ago again and made this statement. Now, you all, let's not just throw her under the bus with this one particular thing, because I'm trying to show you she knows that something is up because, see, she is disagreeing with the black mayor in D.C. I told you the black mayor is starting to act funny and work with Trump now. Remember? Now I want the team to get ready to play this video clip real quick of Maxine Waters, something that she said something similar months ago. She even said something similar a few years ago when Trump took over. But she said something even recently, and this is another reason why I'm telling you, even the black bootlicks are fighting amongst each other because they know that something weird is going on in D.C. Watch this clip, please.
Words mean nothing. Actions mean everything. Watch this. Watch it very closely. Ask a lot of questions. Focus those cameras on everything that's going on, because this president is trying to lead us into what could be called a civil war.
Okay, family. Okay, so that's why I wanted to emphasize that, not because we agree with her on everything, but I'm not going to just lie and make up stuff about somebody just to be doing it, just to you know, scratch wherever you itching at. I got to tell the truth. I'm trying to show you that here you got a black politician that's the mayor of D.C. shucking and jiving with the Trump administration because she got a meeting with the AG and now she done changed her tune. She went from disagreeing with what Trump did to, after meeting with his folks, changing her tune. Maxine Waters knows that something else is up. Is there really a civil war going on? Is there a plan for that? And I'm trying to tell you yes, because there's a specific target on black folks, as I broke down for you yesterday, as I'm showing you today, and how they're concerned about black folks in high-level positions. Now watch this. I want to remind you of something else. How many of you all, can we get the article ready related to Fort Stewart from The Guardian? How many of y'all been hearing about a soldier out of from Fort Stewart by the name of Cornelius Radford? How many of y'all heard about him? I'm not talking about from no years ago. I'm talking about from just a few days ago. The article I'm reading from now is from The Guardian. Family, this is just literally from the 8th of August. This is just the other day. How many of y'all heard about this story? This headline says what? Fort Stewart shooting suspect was relentlessly mocked for stutter, soldiers say. Now, you see how the white media, even the liberal one, and in this instance, The Guardian is a European paper, but all the mainstream ones, they're not making the headlines what the headlines ought to be. What is the headlines, Vicky? What should it be? Well, let me give you a little bit of history. What does it say? I'm just reading you just a little bit, okay? Hang out with me. I know I'm talking to intelligent Black people. They can take a few facts. It says a friend of a man accused of gunning down 5 fellow soldiers at Fort Stewart Army Base in Georgia earlier this week recounted how the suspect had been repeatedly bullied for having a serious stutter, according to a news report. Now, look how the news made that the first issue. I don't care if it's a white liberal or a white conservative. They all want to make sure white folks don't look uncivilized when it comes down to how they mistreat us. But we know the truth. Keep reading, Vicky. Meanwhile, the second paragraph says, soldiers who acted swiftly to suppress the gunman and prevent the possibility of a much higher death toll were being hailed as heroes for their bravery in the terrifying moments after shots rang out in the sprawling military base on Wednesday morning. Somebody said it's just the other day. Somebody said it's a Black man. Now, was he upset and high off of white folk heroin or opioids from the doctor's office? No. What happened? And this is why the white news is lying and trying to cover up what really happened. That's why they didn't put it at the headline. The man in custody for the shooting, Sergeant Cornelius Radford, 28, was relentlessly mocked and mimicked for his speech impediment from the earlier days of his career, NBC News reported. No, baby, we ain't going with just that. Keep reading, Vicky. He got bullied a lot. It was very bad to the point to where he could barely talk, Sergeant Cameron Barrett, 28, a friend of Radford, said in an interview. Forget him. Keep reading. What does the news say? No motive has been officially discussed in the aftermath of the incident amid the criminal investigation in which 5 service members were wounded by gunfire and rushed to the hospital, although they are expected to recover. Another soldier who had worked alongside of Radford earlier in his career said that the sergeant had also lost a loved one in a traffic accident in January and had taken it hard. No, baby. No. What is it, Vicky? Here is the issue we want to focus on. The suspect's father. Somebody said the man that helped to create him. Somebody said his daddy said his son complained of experiencing racism. Let me tell y'all something. Look at me real close. I'm going to connect some dots here. They always worry about giving Black folks too much information, whether they're in the war room or whether they're a soldier, which is why they always limit what you can do, because they don't want you to ever get in your mind to use your skills against white supremacy. How many of you all know that it's Black folks, we're the ones that was responsible for the success of the Civil War, that it would not have been won without us? Y'all know that, right? Y'all know that the Emancipation Proclamation, which is tantamount to a modern day executive order, was signed because we was tearing their hips up, whether we were the Black American Maroons or other such melanated groups that was tearing up America so bad. We was taking out so many of them folks that they was forced to cover for themselves as the losers that they were. How many of y'all know we were destroying plantations left and right and destroying all of them folks? You understand? Talk back to me, somebody. That has always been a secret view of the United States. They understand that we were the ones that were essential to them winning the wars. How many of y'all know, in case you didn't know, if you're watching me in America or around the world, when we were still officially enslaved, do you all know that we fought in all of America's wars? And in some instances, we were fighting because we were hoping that we would be free. In some instances, we were trying to still prove that we were human beings. We fought in every war. Ain't nobody more patriotic than us. And they're concerned about this even in modern times. So I don't know, we ain't been talking about this, brother, lately, and this just took place. Now, how many of y'all know that America always gets scared when a Black military soldier turns on America? Now, y'all okay when America gives you permission to be a killer across the world. But if you ever get any thoughts to use your skills to protect your people, then it's a crime. What am I telling you? I'm telling you, yeah, follow the rules and don't be the aggressor. But let me tell you all something. I don't want to hear nothing from none of y'all about how you can't use the skills that you were taught to protect your own communities. That's what they worried about. And that is the reason why I'm positing to you that they are plausibly and possibly concerned about a civil war. And they're testing stuff right now under Trump. One last thing before I go, my time is almost up. Let's put up this article. I'm not going to put up one of the other articles I had ready for you. Watch my broadcast yesterday. The last article. Team, can you put up the article that I discussed this broadcast back to back to back here on this network years ago when Trump was in office the first time? And even about 8-9 months ago, I revisited this. Can we put up the Fox News article about the State Department spending almost $600,000? Can we put that article up, please? How many of y'all remember me discussing this back to back? I know y'all like Vicky be discussing this years ago. Vicky bring it back. Yes, because we don't just do news and say, oh, that's old news. No, we give you information because it's supposed to be relevant to your day-to-day life and how you move, silly. It's not that you speculatively and in your head knew about it that day. What does this article say? Talk black to me, somebody. The team said it's up. First of all, this is from 2018. Somebody say Trump administration. Under the Trump administration. I said under the Trump administration the first time. What did Trump do? His State Department spent almost $600,000 to what? Explore the gender identities of boys and men in Kenya. No, they're not telling you the details. That's the reason why Vicky broke down for you all with multiple broadcasts on what this is about. I did this years ago, and I did it in recent history. Listen, the Department of Bureau of Counterterrorism. Think, y'all. The Department of Bureau of Counterterrorism is seeking a nonprofit group to, quote, explore gender identities of boys and men in Kenya. The grant proposal states that men being, quote, y'all listen, this is from the State Department. This is not Vicky. This is not African Diaspora News. This is a Fox News report that's coming directly from the State Department from 2018. They wanted to study, the proposal states that men being, quote, tough, heterosexual, aggressive, unemotional, and achieving can make them vulnerable to joining Islamic extremist groups. Y'all. The article goes on to say gender is increasingly recognized as an essential aspect to understanding and countering violent extremism throughout the world, the State Department said. To date, research and interventions on gender in Kenya, it says, has predominantly focused on the role of women and girls in violent extremism. However, men and boys are disproportionately recruited by and join terrorist groups and carry out terrorist operations. In Kenya, there currently exists no CVE, which means countering violent extremism programming dedicated to the role of gender of boys and men. No, family, no. Let me read this last part. Let me stop screaming. To remedy this, the State Department would spend up to $592,500 on, y'all listen, on, quote, masculinity and violent extremism study, which will be awarded to an American nonprofit or non-governmental organization later this year. I said this was under Trump administration. Why am I reading you that? They were, and this is what I posit, this is my opinion based on information and belief that I've been covering this for the past several years and based on my geopolitical and international commentary I've been doing over the years. They wanted to test the Kenyan soldiers because what we have in common with them is our melanin. And they could extract information that would be relevant to Black folks here in the United States too. These are folks that were soldiers fighting against white supremacy, but we claim that it had to do with terrorism. They were concerned because these 5 traits that they were spending $600,000 of your very Black taxpayer dollars from the State Department. They were concerned about these 5 elements. Black men that were what? Tough, heterosexual, aggressive, unemotional, and achieving. These brothers that had those attributes, look at me, family, look at me, serve as some of the greatest threats to the United States of America and her Western anti-Black allies. Because these are folks that are willing to fight. So is the United States government right now preparing for a civil war in the United States because they're concerned about their diminishing numbers? They're concerned about their diminishment all over the world. And so they got something weird going on in DC that's playing. I was looking, I'm finna go, my time is up. I was looking at another press release, interview with Mayor Browser. Browser there in DC. After her funny looking self had the meeting with AG Bondi, she done changed her tune and started talking about she just gonna embrace the stuff. I'm just trying to embrace and just see how we can utilize the federal resources. Watch this. I need y'all to understand that during that news coverage, they talked about how in the upcoming days, how they're going to be politicians also coming, conservative ones in particular, coming to the White House in the next few weeks, allegedly to discuss governmental issues with Trump and them. Y'all know what's happening around the world. Y'all know that there are a lot of other moving parts related to the Epstein stuff and the scandal and them folks from all over the world. I'm telling you, it's more that's going on than what you all know. And Black family, we oftentimes stand in the way of these local and international agendas, whether we know it or not. I'm going to end it right there. I'll likely be doing another follow-up at some other time, but I had to throw these different moving parts out to have you keep this in your mind and to let you know that Trump is the one that spent this money the first time. And I covered it then. I sounded the alarm then. And I'm asking you the question, are they implementing one phase of it now? Are they testing something that they up to? My name is Vicky Diller, beloved, for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Family, be sure to share this broadcast. Be sure to comment. And make sure you comment on something that makes sense. If you're talking about my hair and you're talking about my nails, you ain't doing nothing breakthrough for the world. Just know that. Just whisper to yourself when you at home. Just say, I must be a loser. Say something that makes sense. Anyway, beloved, don't miss Brother Phil's broadcast tonight. He'll be live. I believe it's 8 p.m. Eastern. Don't you miss it. My name is Vicky Diller. You can check me out on my website at VickyPlanet.com. I can't wait to see you again.